There is one thing we all know about Lewis Hamilton. He's a great. He's raced across 3 decades of Formula One, taking a record-equaling 7 world championships, triple-figure pole positions, and a knighthood to boot. We know he bleeds driving talent, but there's so much more to Hamilton than what he does behind the wheel. From his work in improving diversity in motorsports to a budding music career and his relationship with championship rivals, he's a complex guy. Let's take a look at the coolest facts you might not know about the champion. Hamilton was a beast at remote-controlled car racing. It was clear from very early on that Lewis Hamilton had a natural talent in abundance. When he was 6 years old, Lewis had bought a remote-controlled car by his father, Anthony. Within a year, Hamilton finished second in a national race against adults with an electric car. He also won the Best Newcomer for the petrol class, which is quite a feat, considering he was the youngest competitor by at least 15 years. Even as a 7-time Formula One world champion, Hamilton reminisces on these times and the pride they brought him. No doubt it was a feeling he'd chased time and time again as he flourished through his racing series. He told McLaren's boss to sign him when he was just 13. Perhaps it was the early confidence that prompted a young Lewis Hamilton to make a career-defining move. Barely a teenager, Lewis approached Ron Dennis, team boss at McLaren Formula One team. These 2 meetings would define not just Lewis's life, but the future of the sport itself. Dennis recalled the encounters. He asked for my autograph. 2 years later, he came back, asked for my autograph again. There was a brightness and determination on his face. At that time, I was a bit bored, that's the truth. I told him I would sponsor his future seasons, but he had to do everything I say. The first thing was, to his disappointment, that he was going back to school. It would be about a decade later before Hamilton would make his debut in Formula One with McLaren. A 3rd place in Australia on debut was followed by 4 second-place finishes before his debut win in Canada. It's safe to say Dennis's punt on the youngster paid off. Hamilton was in the same school year as Ashley Young. When Hamilton did go back to school, he was in good company. Born in Stevenage, Hertfordshire, Hamilton attended the John Henry Newman School in the town. One of his classmates just happened to be Inter Milan footballer Ashley Young, formerly of Manchester United and England. So, he was in fine sporting company. Lewis used to be superstitious, but left ridiculous routines behind. Many drivers will have lucky charms or routines to aid them on race day. Michael Schumacher preferred to drive with odd numbers, Sebastian Vettel lodges silver in his race boots, Stefano Medina hated the right side of the garage. And Lewis Hamilton used to be the same. He told James Corden and Tom Brady, "I must have been 10 or 11, and my brother gave me this conker. It was my lucky conker, so I put it in my suit. I don't know what happened to the damn thing. It came out of my trouser leg and I lost this damn conker. Then I had this lucky pair of underwear and my mom shrunk them. It wasn't until I was 17 or 18 and I had a sequence of how to get dressed, right sock first, then left sock. I got in the car in Germany about to start the race and my helmet wasn't done up. So I'd missed one of the elements of these steps I had made crucial for getting the job done. I remember I crashed several seconds later, and after that, I thought, this is ridiculous, it's all in my head. So I got rid of all that. We create those things in our mind. Lewis Hamilton dominated in Junior Series. In modern open-wheeled racing, drivers can expect tough competition when progressing through the series. F3 and F2 are fiercely competitive as young drivers vie for the eyes of team bosses on the Formula One grid. But for Hamilton, he simply blew the field away. In 2005, he took the Formula 3 Euro Series with aplomb. Of the 20 races, 15 were won by the Brit, who also took 13 pole positions. He wrapped up the championship against rivals including Adrian Sutil, Lucas Di Grassi, and Sebastian Vettel by 78 points. Taking the step up to GP2 the following year, Hamilton continued his momentum. With his nearest rivals including Nelson Piquet Jr. and Timo Glock, Hamilton won the series at the first time of asking, albeit by the finger margin of 12 points. These performances were enough to convince Ron Dennis to elevate Hamilton into a Formula One seat. In his first season of Premier Class racing, Hamilton matched his world champion teammate Fernando Alonso for points, but both came 1 point short of Kimi Räikkönen's championship-clinching total of 101. Hamilton ditched his Senna-inspired yellow helmet. After victories throughout his junior years, it was hard to miss Hamilton out on track. Not least thanks to the striking helmet design. He used a bright yellow helmet designed for his first season in Formula One in homage to his hero, Ayrton Senna. Of course, this yellow associated with the driver's Brazilian nationality. But designer Sid Mosca described the yellow base as symbolizing youth, with a green stripe symbolizing aggression and a blue stripe symbolizing movement. For years, Hamilton used a yellow helmet with blue and green lines, with the addition of a red line. In 2014, Hamilton began to move towards more red in his helmet, but maintained yellow elements. But there was a drastic change in 2020. In support of Black Lives Matter movement, Hamilton donned a black helmet with purple accents. This was a shift from 2 decades of using yellow and red on his lid, but a poignant way to make a statement. Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton used to be great friends. Their upbringings couldn't have been more different. Hamilton grew up in Stevenage as his dad worked multiple jobs to fund his career. Rosberg grew up in luxurious Monaco, the son of his title-winning father Keke. But growing through the junior ranks, Rosberg and Hamilton became mates. In 2000, the pair were teammates racing for the karting team Mercedes-Benz McLaren. Fellow competitor Robert Kubica has recalled how they were competitive on every level. They would even have races to eat pizza, always eating 2 at a time. Eventually, the pair's career diverged. Rosberg made his debut for Williams in 2006, with Hamilton following the next year. The Brit had a stellar debut season, finishing just a point behind the world champion, Kimi Räikkönen. But in the following season, Rosberg's maiden podium came during an Australian Grand Prix Hamilton had won. The pair famously embraced in the cool-down room. As the seasons went on, the pair became teammates once again at Mercedes. But it was not amicable, with several squabbles leading to Hamilton stating in an interview, "We're not friends." Subscribe, like, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below.